Hello everyone, and this is my review for TNA Impact Wrestling on July 21st, 2016. And this was a very interesting episode of Impact. They decided to start this whole Bound for Glory playoff thing, where it's basically an 8-man tournament. And it's not like the old Bound for Glory series where you kind of do round robin, you get points for victory, submissions, this and that. They didn't overcomplicate it. It's just a single elimination tournament, and they had the first round matches tonight on the show. But they started off the show with, and you saw a couple different of these vignettes, and I'll go through the Bound for Glory thing here. You saw a couple of these different vignettes here with Matt and Jeff Hardy. Where they basically started this whole aspect of filming where Jeff Hardy had broken his leg after they won the World Tag Team titles. You had Matt kind of getting on him about that. It's like, this is how you broke our tag team and everything in that sense. And challenging Matt, calling him not challenging Matt, but challenging Jeff to do the jump again, and said he would continually fail. And he wants to see him fail over and over and over again, calling him a coward and everything like that. And of it, having Jeff eventually want to attempt the jump again, and gets on his motorcycle. Matt, during this entire time, being typical broken Matt Hardy aside, like over the top, everything. Like, this was good stuff. This was good stuff from them. And they show the ending of it right before Jeff Hardy's match with Michael Bennett, where they show it to the point that, you know, he goes for the jump, falls off the bike, falls on his back, not in the way that it happened before, in that sense of everything. So they left this as an aspect of Jeff Hardy being injured going into his match. I also like the aspect that, like, before Jeff Hardy's match, like, they showed this before then, but you also had a promo from Matt saying, it's like, he is my intellectual property. Every time you use him, it's a such and such fine because you're using that name without his permission and everything like that. Basically, they're trying to make it to where Matt Hardy controls Jeff completely, and like his name and his everything like that. And they explained that a little bit last week in the promo, and you just see a little bit more of that throughout this entire promo. And they even have Jeff Hardy come out to different theme music, being like a whole like obsolete type theme music. And I love the aspect that he uses the Vanguard 1. Every time he wants something to appear, he always refers to Vanguard 1 to pop it up on the screen or everything like that. So you have a new like theme song. I'm not sure who's actually seen it, but every time it says obsolete in there, Rebby's like following him Jeff down the ring, calling him obsolete, and everything in that sense. And then that goes into his match with Michael Bennett. Not much to really say about that. Michael Bennett wins over easy. They were playing off the injury angle here, so he advances in the Bound for Glory playoffs. The other Bound for Glory playoff matches for tonight. You had James Storm going up against Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy wins on that one, though they had an interesting spot where James Storm uses the Boozer Cruiser to run into Matt Hardy. He's like, wouldn't that cause some kind of disqualification or anything like that, because it was done right in front of the ref? You know, whatever on that one. Whatever on that. They have Matt go over. James Storm was setting up the last call super kick with the referee distracted. Rebby hits him in the leg with the ring bell hammer, and leads into the twist of fate. Matt Hardy goes over in that one. Right before EC3's match with Eli Drake, you had a promo from EC3 and Drew Galloway, which does get interrupted by Eli Drake, with the aspect of it teasing that the bracket is set up for an EC3 versus Drew Galloway finals in the Bound for Glory playoffs. So they're teasing that might be the case, or it might go in the other direction there with who could potentially win those matches and like continue on their storyline. So it was like this to continue on their storyline of when are these two going to actually have a match outside of just fighting. So the match with Eli Drake and EC3 goes over in here, which was I would say a relatively good match. It was by far one of the better matches I've seen from Eli Drake recently, at least in the in-ring. Eli Drake's always been great on the mic. He's been kind of in the ring recently, but this was a pretty good match, and it came off quite well. And with the final Bound for Glory playoff match, you had Bram versus Drew Galloway. Right before the match, you had another segment with Bram getting talking with Rosemary. They do a little makeout session and everything like that. It's like, is it where Rosemary's trying to convert herself over, or is she trying to convert him over to Decay? We didn't really have anything else from this one, at least for tonight. We'll probably see something a little bit more next week with that, but they're continuing off this whole Rosemary Bram thing for the time being. As for the match, pretty good match from Drew Galloway and Bram here. Drew Galloway goes over clean, no interference. So if you were assuming that maybe Rosemary or Decay would come out and interfere, none of them did, and it ended with actually a relatively good spot. Like, they were countering finisher after finisher in here, and it ends up with a tornado-style Future Shock DDT from Drew Galloway over to Bram to get the victory. Pretty good way of ending the match. I thought it was a relatively, like I said, a relatively good match in this case. And this leads into the other aspects of the night, which there's about 3 others. One real quick one. It looked like they were going to have a promo from Muhammad Ali Shira. He gets attacked really quickly by the Tribunal, so they're continuing on with Shira. Probably Grado in there and the Tribunal. Great. When you thought it was over with. In this case, but I guess not here. I was never a big fan of that one. Then again, I was never a big fan of Grado, and I wasn't. I'm not too sold on where they're going with the Tribunal, the whole aspect with Al Snow and everything in there. I'm not completely sold on it, but we'll see how everything goes there. Looks like they're continuing on with that one. You also had the State of the Knockouts address, and you had Maria coming out with the 6 main knockouts, which is Ali, Sienna, Marty Bell, Jade, Madison, Rayne, and Gail Kim. And it went the typical fare, like all the heels were sucking up to Maria, the faces were kind of getting in Maria's face, calling her. It was like, what's going on? Like, Jade even points out, it's like, I haven't had my one-on-one rematch since I've lost the title. Where's that at? Gail comes in there, also is wondering when her match with Maria was going to actually be, and also is like, even saying, it's like, if I can't have my match with you, I'll go for the Knockouts title, and if she beats everybody, even if she has to beat everybody. And that's what Gail ended out, or Maria ended up saying, it's like, okay, that's a good idea. You'll have to beat everybody at some point in time. And for anyone who, and she says, for anyone who takes out Gail, they would get rewarded in a big way. And Madison Rayne ends up attacking Gail Kim after Jade had left and everything like that. And you had Marty Bell and Jade fighting, and Gail gets taken out by Madison Rayne. Madison Rayne says it's all not personal, it's only about her looking after herself in this case and everything like that. Kind of an okay segment, nothing, I can't say anything too crazily special about it, but it's setting up this whole potential road to Gail winning the Knockouts title one more time. We'll see where they go with it and everything in that sense to go along with that. And this leads into the main event of the night, which was Eddie Edwards against Bobby Lashley. But at the beginning of the show, you had Lashley coming out there to cut a promo. He wants to call out Moose and everything on that, and everything that had happened from the week before. Michael Bennett comes out, and Michael Bennett does come out and starts cutting a promo. He brings out Moose, and it looks like Moose and Bobby Lashley are gonna begin to fight, but Eddie Edwards charges down and starts attacking Moose, who gets, so all four of them decide to start brawling. They get interrupted by Dixie Carter, and basically saying, she was basically like, Eddie Edwards, Lashley, focus on the world title, X Division title match for later in the night. But if anyone interferes in the terms of Michael Bennett or Moose, Michael Bennett would get fired. So they kind of were working that aspect of not having any interference in the match in any way, shape, or form. So into the actual match itself, really, really good cage match. I thought these two put on a tremendous show for the main event. The one little snippet or nitpick you have to go with, they keep on mentioning throughout the entire night, or not throughout the entire night, but throughout the entire match, the door is locked shut. The door was locked shut, even though it was very clear that the chain and the lock were nowhere near that door in any way. So they even make mention when the door opens up a little bit later on, when Lashley throws Eddie Edwards into it, it's like, they knocked the chain off the door and everything like that. And it's like, no, it's never locked to begin with. Announcers, what are you doing? Didn't take away from the match, though. This was a thoroughly entertaining match. Good back and forth spots there, and good spots from Eddie Edwards and Bobby Lashley here. Lashley going over eventually with 3 different spears and getting the win and the X Division title. This does eventually prompt the rest of the Bound for Glory playoff people to come out and basically start a brawl, because Lashley was going to continue beating down Eddie Edwards. EC3 comes out, attacks Lashley, which brings out Matt Hardy, which brings out Drew Galloway, which brings out Michael Bennett, and Moose. So they all just brawl, and that's how they end up going off the air here. Overall show, not bad, not great. You had some good matches in there. I don't know if I'm a fan of how they decided to do the Bound for Glory playoff thing, or whether or not they should have done the whole old Bound for Glory series, though honestly the old Bound for Glory series was kind of over convoluted, and it's like, what are they going for? It's like, if this guy gets a win here, but by submission, he'll get 10 points, and I guess this kind of simplifies it, and that's actually probably for the better in this case, because we've known TNA in the past to overcomplicate things when they don't need to. So this whole aspect of the Bound for Glory playoff is probably a little bit a better one, though they're saying the semifinal matches are next week. It almost makes you think that they could have, Bound for Glory is usually in October. They could have waited for a while, unless they're doing it in September this year, or something like this, or something like that. They could have waited another month and then done this 8-man tournament. But they decided to do it now. And don't get me wrong, that could lead into a relatively good build-up going into the actual Bound for Glory pay-per-view, where you have a slower burn into a title match down the road. So we'll see how everything goes with this. Like I said, the Eddie Edwards and Lashley match was a good one. Really good cage match. But otherwise, segment-wise, some of it good, some of it not. I'm still thoroughly enjoying the Matt Hardy stuff. For the time being, he finds me. He is probably one of the main reasons to watch the show now, is for just his overreactions and his over-the-top persona with this broken Matt Hardy thing. It really is working in that sense of everything right now, and we'll see how long this continues on the go. So we'll see how everything goes next week with TNA Impact. And this is my review for TNA Impact Wrestling this week. A pretty good show. I can't say a great show, but I can't say it was bad either. So, there you go. And I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day.